Today I would like to discuss the writing portion of art journaling. This is, for many students, a new concept to have to include writing in their artwork. So I want to talk to you about how I start off the year so it's less intimidating for students. So I'm going to take you through my art journal. And the first page I give students at the beginning of the year is just a free page. After we make our art journals, I don't give them any instructions. I just say, go ahead. Go make a page. This sets a really good baseline for me so I know where students are at, what they need to learn for the year, and how comfortable they are with the writing portion of art journaling. So after we do that, then I talk about backgrounds, and then we talk a little bit more about writing. So this first page is just a free prompt. So they could do whatever they wanted. I didn't tell them anything. I didn't give them a writing prompt or anything. I just said, do what you want. And then the second page, I'll go with something really easy just to get them going. Okay, so I think I usually do, what is your favorite quote and why? So the writing would be their quote, and then they just have to give a couple of sentences why they like that quote. So that's pretty simple. Who says the quote? Where did it come from? Is it from a book? They have to tell me that as well. And then they have to do a little paragraph about why they like that quote or what it means to them. The third page, I have them do a random word. So they can use a dictionary. They can just point to a word in a dictionary. They can choose a word. So this is an example for mine. I chose the word swatch. And I have a whole bunch of paint swatches on here. So this is really just getting them warmed up and getting used to the writing. Then I have them do a page of, they pick their favorite song and they use lyrics from the song. They love music. They love, completing this prompt and this page as well. So this is just getting them comfortable with what they need to do. So then I'll start asking them questions like, what makes you happy? Now they're going to start getting used to the writing from these earlier ones. Then they're going to start to, okay, what makes them happy? That's kind of a simple question if you think about it. What do you like? What do you like to do when you're not in school, when you're not doing homework? Now, I cannot stress this enough. I don't read what the students write. I'm not here to judge their writing. I'm not here to critique their grammar. I just want them writing. That's the most important part of this, is the writing. It's just a free writing. It's like they're writing in a journal. So if you think about it like that, if they're writing in a journal, think about if you're writing in a journal. Would you want somebody reading your journal? No, those are your personal thoughts and ideas. So I don't do any reading. So these first couple pages are to establish the trust with students. So when they bring up their page to be graded, I don't read their pages. We talk about their art techniques on there. I start to have them realize, oh, she's not even going to read this, which is a good thing. I want them knowing I'm not reading this. I don't collect their journals. I just grade them when they bring them up. Now, if a student comes up to me and they have one sentence or maybe 5 words, I'll say, you got to go back and add more writing. That's not enough. And then they'll go back, they'll add more. Sometimes I'll ask them questions about what the prompt was about and give them ideas of things that they could write about. And then they bring it back up to me. You really need to establish that trust at the beginning of the school year. If they don't have that trust with you, if they think you're going to be reading their personal thoughts, they're not going to be getting out of the class what they need to get out of the class. Journaling is a release, so they need to be able to release those feelings and get those emotions out without being judged or being worried that someone's going to read it. So make sure you establish that clearly at the beginning of the year. It's super easy to grade a journal page without doing any of the reading. It doesn't matter. I don't care what they write about. And sometimes I'll even say to them, if they're struggling with a prompt, I'm not reading it. If you want to write about something else, go ahead and write about what's, going on in your head right now. And they will. And I do think that they appreciate having that leniency as well. So I usually have them write, how much writing? Usually about a paragraph. So in the beginning, maybe first quarter, I let them get away with like 3 or 4 sentences, and then I keep pushing them. Well, you need more. I would say a long paragraph, 5 to 6 sentences at least at the minimum. And I have students that cover entire pages with writing because they just love to write. They enjoy it. It's a good stress relief for them. So they'll get there. You just have to keep kind of pushing them through the writing. I also show students different techniques for writing. So I have a typewriter in my classroom that I got on our local Buy Nothing group. So one of their techniques is they have to type something up and incorporate it into their journals. I've got stamps that they can use, a whole bunch of different writing pens. And then we talk about different ways to find different fonts that they can use in their journals. And you'll see later in this video, I do have, I think it's 11 different techniques that I incorporate into the art techniques that I show students, different ways that they can include writing in their art journals. Since we're talking about writing today, I wanted to give you one of my favorite ideas that I use for if you have a student that walks in your classroom and you can tell they just have had a bad day, something happened before they came to this class, something happened at home yesterday or that morning, something is bothering them. And you can tell usually. Once you get to know your students, you know if something's off. Well, I had a student come in the one day. He didn't seem right. And I said, "Are you all right?" And he was like, "No." And he started yelling. He didn't want to do any art journaling. He was just angry. I handed him a pen and I said, "Open up to a blank page, fill it, write everything out that's bothering you, anything you need to get off of your chest right now." There was a little bit of hesitation, a little bit of a refusal, but I said, just do it. This will be, what you're working on today. And then I'm going to show you what to do with that next. So I handed him a pen and I said, just go write on a blank page. So I'm going to go through, I'm going to do my free write. I'm going to speed it up. And then I'm going to show you what I had him do with it afterwards. Okay, my free write is done. So after I had the student do their free write, they wrote it all out and I handed him a tube of black paint and poured a little bit on a piece of paper. I'm gonna put that there. I'm gonna grab 2 scrap papers here. Stick them underneath the page. And I handed him a paintbrush. And I said, "Okay, cover it up." And he was like, "What? What do you mean cover it up? I just did all that writing." I said, "But it doesn't matter. That was you getting it out of your system. It's got to feel a little bit better. You didn't want to talk to anybody about it. Put it on paper. I don't care what you wrote about. I just care that you got it out. And you wrote it down." So, took a paintbrush. He went right over all the words. Now, I knew that he had done his writing because he had showed me and said he was done with it. And I saw it there. So, when he had turned in his page, I didn't expect there to be paragraphs of writing on this page because I knew it was there. It was just a secret. It was hidden. And now he's covering it up and getting rid of it. So this is a really great technique. Again, I don't use it often, but if I have a student that comes in and is visibly upset about something, I'll pull this trick out. And usually it works. I don't have a ton of students that'll refuse when I ask them to do something. If you build a good enough relationships with kids, they're not really going to tell you no. They'll be reluctant when doing it, but they'll do it. So there you go. Now you can see that I have 2 pages that are black, that don't have any writing on them anymore. It's gone, but it was there. And what I got out of my system needed to be out. And it doesn't matter if I can never see it again. Who cares? It's gone. So keep that trick up your sleeve if you're having a student come in and you need to use it.